Here's our little demo of some IACCM materials. So CommonAccord is an org, and we have a website here. The website is hosted on GitHub so that all of the components are available. That's the code that does it, and this is all of the materials here. The materials are hosted on the website in this large collection here, and you will see that many of these materials are IACCM materials. So we've got a superb set of documents under Cooperate, but I'm going to go and do the presentation that we did in Dublin with a slight modification. So this is an example of how you can use these materials in CommonAccord. This is a presentation of what a food supply purchase order would look like, and we can complete the information here. So we could make this be on this date, 07, call it 30, and so you can complete the information, and we've hypothesized you can also change information. Let's say that we actually need to have the things a little bit earlier, so we can change that kind of information. And now let me show you how all of this is organized. So if we go to the Dublin, so to this repository, this was our presentation, we can go to the food supply, and this is where our order was. So our order now has this information in it, and it is based upon each of the steps in the transaction. So our food purchase order was from here, and it references the signed agreement, which you can see was done here among the business people, which references the business terms that were included in the agreement, and that in turn references the forms of agreement. So the form of agreement is done by connecting the two parties with the actual form. So here is where standards really come in, that we can begin to make contract provisions available in a generalized form where they can then be included in these agreements, because in doing this we haven't created anything new. All we've done is to reference things here. So we get all the way down that language that we saw about the ordering is done this way with this kind of granularity. So you can see some of this is a little bit technical, but it's just barely technical. It's all simply bits of text. We more or less can get a young lawyer up on this, being productive in a couple of hours and having reasonable command in the course of doing a couple of hours a week with a little bit of help and intervention. But they truly can be productive under supervision within about an hour. So here is back to the form, and we'll notice that every element in it comes from someplace and it knows where it came from. So this is the one of the parties' zip code. And all of the form here, all of this stuff is generated in the same way. Okay? You can also do very simply helpful things like linking to the definitions and doing cross-references. There's no extra technology to do that. It's all just done with the basic forms of HTML and other completely standard materials. So you can see all of this cross-referencing is really just hyperlinks. That's the basic idea, and the materials that we can do include, go up through this, the materials that we can do really cover the waterfront, from agreements for startups to common non-disclosure agreements, consulting agreements, master services agreements. And that's more or less the technology side of this.